Am I live? Am I going here? What's the word on the streets, people? That's right. We're going to talk a little bit about Five Nights at Freddy's. How many nights? 5 nights. That's right. I just finished watching this thing they call a movie. I mean, it's a movie. But was it a good movie? That's the real question. Bear with me as I just got set up here and trying to figure things out. Going live as I literally just got done checking it out on Peacock. Didn't see it in the theater, so maybe it was different in the theater. Maybe it was better in the theater. Maybe I missed something here. But what I do know is that it was not the movie I expected. And maybe it wasn't the movie you expected. You'll have to let me know as we get further into this. But wow. Wow, 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 wow. Wowie, wooey, wow, woo, whoa. Wow. What a crazy movie. I'm not going to get into the plot yet as I try to collect my thoughts on this movie. It is a stars, did anybody notice it starred PETA from Hunger Games? You probably didn't know that. It's PETA. It's PETA time. PETA better. PETA, belly and jelly. Jelly? Peter Berry? Peanut, belly, and jelly. That's right. PETA. From the Hunger Games. That's your main antagonist or protagonist in this. It's directed by an Emma Tammi. Never heard of her. Don't know what she's ever done before. And I'm going to try to keep from spoiling things for people for the time being. Welcome. Thank you, Doc. Thank you for showing up. I know that Doc saw this. Let's get the first word from Doc. Yes, of course I showed up. Would miss this for the world. Live streaming this crazy movie that highly anticipated. By the way, anybody who was wondering, box office on this, Friday was 34 million. Thursday was 10.3 million. That's 68 million in 2 days. That's with a theatrical day and date on Peacock. So, and I think the expectations of this movie, it was not what I expected. So, I don't know. I definitely didn't enjoy it, but I think I understand it. There's a very simple premise as to why this movie was not exactly what everybody thought it should be. Does it show refunds? I feel like if you went to the theater expecting a lot of mechanical mayhem and mechanical carnage, you should ask for your money back. That's for sure. Instead, you get a heartfelt PG-13 movie about hanging out at your favorite Chuck E. Cheese. That's what I think we got here. It was not exactly what we were expecting. I know a lot of people were upset about the eyes, and I've never played the game, but I am familiar with the premise of the game. And I do not think... The easy answer is, this is what happens when you give a backstory to something that doesn't need a backstory. Did I need a backstory for Five Nights at Freddy's? I don't think so. I don't need to know how the mechanical guys got there. I don't need to know, like, anything. I don't need to know if they have previous occupations. I don't need to know if they have previous loved ones. I don't need to know what their motivations are, what their likes, what their feelings, whether or not they like long walks on the beach. I don't need any of those things. What I need to know is why they aren't killing more people. I'm trying to think what the body count on this was. The body count was not very high, and exactly 0 of the deaths were creative. It's perplexing. Because I feel like if you didn't if you didn't have any expectations and you're like, oh, cool, animatronic thingamabob's gonna kill people, that's gonna be kind of interesting. Maybe I'll like it, and maybe I won't get mad at it. But that's not what we got. We got like this whole backstory. This whole. I actually I paused the movie because I got the good fortune of watching it on Paramount Plus. It was 42 minutes before the first person even died. It's just the security guard. Oh, yeah. That guy, yes. And we're trying not to spoil it, but that guy, there was one guy who died in the very beginning for absolutely no reason. We don't know why. It just did. Because of things. Spoiler alert. I'm going to try not to spoil it too much until we get into like a full-blown discussion. I'm going to try to keep it as PG-13 as they did, because how can you have imaginative kills if it's PG-13? And I'm okay. Like, okay. It's okay if it's PG-13. That's all right. I'm not completely opposed to it. It just wasn't scary. It was more of a drama. And I spent more time trying to figure out where this guy is trying to, where Peter from the Hunger Games is trying to find his brother. Like, there's a lot of psychological themes. There's a hot police officer who's totally suspect from the second that she shows up. Very sus. How sus, Doc, did you think needed more TNA? It's PG-13. You can't get that much TNA, right? Would you? I feel like you definitely would have preferred if it was rated R. But considering it was rated PG-13, were you upset with it being rated PG-13? Or do you think it was okay being PG-13? At no point in this movie was I scared. I think there were about 3 jump scares, and all 3 of the jump scares had no payoff to them. They were all the same exact thing. It was like this tiny gnome thing that kept scaring the security guard over and over again. I think he got scared like 4 or 5 times, and it had 0 payoff in the movie. There was just nothing there. Didn't do anything. Didn't, like, I thought, without spoiling how ridiculous this movie is, I don't know. I feel like it's going to have one of those cataclysmic drop-offs. If you look at it from not a Five Nights at Freddy movie, and it's just like a horror movie, it's competently done. Like, it's not egregious how bad it is. What's egregious about it is you literally have Willy's Wonderland, which is a far better movie with your lead actor who says exactly 1 or 2 lines in the entire movie. That, to me, is a substantially better movie than what we saw here. And I just feel like so many people were hyped up about it, and it just wasn't. It wasn't what you would have wanted from a Five Nights at Freddy's. Your TV was like, this is a joke. Even your TV was upset with it, Doc. Yes. I like I said, I think it was 42. There's 1 kill in the beginning of the movie, and then 42 minutes later, you get additional kills. And then once you get those kills, there are 0 more kills in the movie. Not 1 more kill. Can I give it a letter grade? It's really hard, because if I was going to say that if you're a Five Nights at Freddy's fan, I'm going to say it's probably like a C-. If I'm going to give it a totally neutral grade, I'll give it like a C+, because it just wasn't scary. It's like I said, it's not that it's a bad movie. It's just not a scary movie, and it's not what you're looking for. If you're looking for a good horror movie this Halloween, this is not the movie for you. It's just not going to do it. What's weird, though, is I am looking at the Rotten Tomatoes, and, look, I know that these are bought. The verified audience. I mean, the audience seems to like. How is there 10,000 reviews, mind you, when it just came out? It just came out this weekend, and there's 10,000 reviews. I don't know if I believe that. $25 million budget. Thanks, Doc. They're going to make a lot of money. They already made their money back. And there's going to be, not that they tease, there is no teaser for a sequel necessarily. but they're gonna make a sequel because it made money, not because it's good. I will say, I let's talk about the good things about it. The animatronics are cool. They don't do anything with them, but they are cool. And there's enormous plot holes in the movie, but I'm not expecting a well-written movie. I'm just expecting something scary. And when I get a PG-13, and I should have realized this when I saw it was PG-13, that it just was not going to be that good. Critics hate this movie. They have it at 25%. There's 118 reviews already in, and they just absolutely hate it. They have it at 25%. But the fans seem to like it. Now, if it's, to me, it's almost a Megan phenomenon. I wanted Megan. There was so much hype behind Megan. I wanted Megan to be better than it actually was. And like I said, this isn't like, I'm trying to think of the audience. If I'm somewhere between the ages of 13 and 24, am I going to like this movie? I'll probably like it because I feel bad for the villains. Like, what? I just don't get it. I just don't get it. What happened to writing? Like, if I was going to have the movie myself, if I was going to write the movie, just for the sake of argument, I would have it start as it's Five Nights at Freddy's. And I would start day 1 or day 5 and then count down from day 5, day 4, day 3, day 2. Like, I'd have it a little more trippy. I'd have it a little more weird. They look at the cameras like once. You know, I was under the impression that the game was that you look at the cameras to see if the creatures are coming for you, and then you turn off the power, or the power gets turned off, and then you have to turn it back on, or make sure you turn the camera on, because as soon as they're seen, then you have someone who's going to attack you, right? The jump scares, there were no good jump scares. All the jump scares were of a gnome thing that had no payoff or setup in the movie whatsoever. They're all, you know, they're going to make another movie. They're going to make a sequel to this. Like I said, it's not sequel bait. I'm not trying to, again, I'm not spoiling anything right now. But there's no definitive sequel bait in this. There just is. Like, you can interpret it whatever way you want. It just is. The movie ends. It's fine. There's a conclusion. You don't have to worry about it. But given the fact that it's already made this much money off of 2 days, like, if it made 63 million already, 68 million, that's insane for, you know, especially because you have a day and date. Now, what I will say about the day and date, you know, the fact that it's released on streaming and that it's released in the theaters at the same time, first of all, it's perfect weekend for it, right? It's the weekend before Halloween, and it has no scary competition. So there's nothing else scary, right? And then on top of that, you have so you have like the perfect weekend, and then you also have the idea that no one has Peacock. Like, who has Peacock? No one ever talks about Peacock. I couldn't tell you the last thing that was released on Peacock. So this is like the first big movie released on Peacock. So it's not like its streaming service has so many subscribers that is really going to hurt its theater release. So I don't know. I just disappointed. Yes. Interested in a sequel? No. Do I like the animatronics? Yes. Did I like the kills? No. Bad. Half the point of watching a horror movie is watching really good kills. And what we had here was, I'm going to, 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 kills tops. I think it was 5. Doc, you should double check that for me. But I think there were a total of 5 kills. So how you have a horror movie with 5 deaths of characters that you don't even, like, 2 of them didn't even get a line. One of, like, oh, maybe there was a 6th kill that was off camera. There was an off camera kill. And there was an Uber ride. Very exciting Uber ride, let me tell you. I was riveted. And then you get the phenomenal acting. Like, none of it, like, every single character that you met in this was completely sus. And on top of that, the protagonist, Peeta from the Hunger Games, he was sus on top of everything else. There's a cop in it, and she go, "You're acting very suspicious." Like anyone cares what you're doing at this completely abandoned. Like, why is there a security guard here? None of it makes sense. None of the setup makes sense. And then it's taking you on this path of what am I watching here? Is this a horror movie? Is this a mystery? And even if the mystery gets solved, am I really excited about like it just and it did have a twist, which I will attempt to not spoil. But it wasn't a not really a good movie. I could understand it though if you had no clue as to what Five Nights at Freddy's is, and you're a PG-13 person, and you want like a pseudo horror movie without being too scared. This will probably be right up your alley. And unless they paid for reviews, I just can't imagine people really genuinely liking this thing. I'd be surprised. Like if you're a horror, especially when you have the blueprint for a better movie, when you have, and I know it wasn't a big hit. It's kind of a cult classic, but the Nicolas Cage movie, that is just so much better than this. It's crazy that you could have a blueprint for something that's successful. You literally have a Five Nights at Freddy ripoff, Willy's Wonderland. That's what it's called. I know I referenced it before, but holy cow, substantially better. Yet this just doesn't. I don't know. It was just interesting how it didn't. It definitely did. I was excited for this. I was genuinely excited to see Five Nights at Freddy's, and wow, just disappointed. Going back to the PG, it was definitely PG-13. Like there was nothing scary. There was no T, no A, barely any blood, not a single innovative death. Oh, the Beetlejuice sequel, good. I mean, that's an interesting conversation in and of itself. Can they capture the beauty of Beetlejuice? I don't know. And will it be funny and will it be scary? Like, because there are definite moments in Beetlejuice that are pretty intense. It captured that perfect blend of scary and funny. And what a great movie Beetlejuice is. I think it's even fascinating because I'm pretty sure Beetlejuice is only in 18 minutes of the movie in total. But are they going to screw it up? I don't know, man. Hard to say. I'll definitely see it when it comes out, but I don't have a lot of high hopes for it. Let's say that. Oh, I have to do this on my cell phone. My cell phone is not cooperating. Stay put. You? Oh, I can hear it shifting. Sorry, folks. Trying to get my cell phone to cooperate here is like impossible. It's very difficult. Getting a count. But kill count was at 6 on Five Nights at Freddy's. So, I mean, it's more than I thought it was, but it felt like there was no kills in this. I felt like I said, there was one kill in the very beginning, and then the rest of the kills didn't happen until like 42 minutes into the movie. And that just seemed disappointing to me. So, it's tricky. Do you, I still think there's a blueprint to do this movie better. There is a blueprint, but how do you capture the essence? I think they did a really good job on the animatronics. And look, I don't know if they were people in suits. I don't know if they were people just hanging out. Like it's hard to say. I suspect they were mostly animatronic, but then the kids. Oh, what the kids themselves? Oh, if you can't count the kids, they're not part of that. I don't think they're part of the kill. You didn't get. What I'm talking about is the actual kill count in the movie. Like how many people does Jason kill in a movie? What's the average? Intruder alert. Intruder alert. Red spies in the base. I mean, that's intentionally. That is watch or pass. I'm gonna say pass. It might aggravate you if you're like a Five Nights at Freddy's and you don't like a PG-13 movie. I guess it depends on whether or not you saw Megan. I'm gonna say pass, but I could see why some people might like it. But if you have a certain thought process going into this, that this is gonna be a great scary Halloween movie, pass. It's not scary. It's not that interesting. And if you did, the other question is, do you want a backstory, a very long backstory, to all of the animatronics at Five Nights at Freddy's? If you want a backstory, then have I got a backstory for you? And every character that's in it is so like stereotypical sus. Like you're just like, oh, I get what's going on here. This is totally suspect. There's so many like plot contrivances. But again, I could understand if you're like, if you're a teenager and you're looking for a PG-13 movie. To me, it's so close to Megan, and I liked Megan. I don't think Megan was amazing. Meath Regan, I should say. I shouldn't even say Megan. Meath Regan was good and enjoyable. I won't say that this was enjoyable for me because there was too much plot. How bad is that? There's too much plot. Not even plot, but there was too much going on. Too much backstory. I just wanted like a survival thriller. I wanted to see Willy Wonderland done a little with a bigger budget, and I don't think I got that. I am, what's it? Shane Countryman. I am sure your turd lips itch. That is something that you can get treated. There are doctors for that. So maybe some baby powder. Just slather it all over. You'll be fine. Take 2 doses of baby powder and call me in the morning. We'll be fine. But as far as Five Nights with Freddy's, we've been, is it a watch or a pass? I mean, if you have it for free, watch it. You'll be annoyed. It'll be a waste of your time. I would not recommend seeing it in a theater. It's definitely not scary enough to see in a theater. Definitely not scary enough. That's a for sure. Just one of those things where you're like, while I was watching it, it didn't keep my interest. Five Nights at Freddy's. Yes, Jack. Hi, how you doing? That Jack Skellington. Skellington or just Skeleton? Jack Skeleton. How about Five Finger Bangs at Freddy's? That's what I would have been more interested in this if they had changed the name and made it better. Maybe scarier. Do you want to hug your Five Nights at Freddy characters? Then that's what you're going to get here. This is like the neutered version of Five Nights at Freddy's, where everybody's friends and they all hug, they all kumbaya. It's so stupid. Yeah, and I know Doc absolutely hated this movie. Peacock is giving refunds if you hated this movie. Well, if Peacock's giving refunds, you should get rid of that. Did you watch the final movie? I don't know what the final... No, yes, I watched the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. I literally just finished watching it. And I'm attempting not to spoil it for people because that would be stupid if I really spoiled it. I can tell you things like, were there good kills? Or is there a solid kill count? Or is it exciting? Or is it scary? I will tell you it's none of those things. I have seen Antlers. I enjoyed that very much. I actually am a big fan of the Native American myth of the Wendigo. I think that's very cool. And I really enjoyed the way that they did that movie. I thought the creature design was fantastic. Great movie. Great movie. Highly recommend Antlers. Antlers, you should watch Antlers twice instead of watching Five Nights at Freddy's. Did you see the spring lock scene? I did see the spring lock scene, and it wasn't scary. I mean, if you're scared of a broom handle getting broken, then maybe this is the movie for you. But if you're not scared of broom handles getting broken by a spring lock, then maybe it's not that scary. I'm going to pick up the Blu-ray. Saw it in the theater. Yes, I absolutely recommend that you pick up the Blu-ray of Antlers, not Five Nights at Freddy's. Even if they try to trick you and they try to pull a Meath Regan, where they say there's an R-rated Meath Regan, and you're like, well, that could be cool. That's a lie. They might give you a R-rated Five Nights at Freddy's. That would not be cool because ultimately the movie is just not good enough to sustain a rewatch or an R rating. We will miss you, Scott Cawthon. I don't know who that is, but I will pinch you if you are dreaming. So don't worry. I will keep you awake. Doc was dozing off while he was watching it. Yeah, Five Nights at Freddy's is, I think I talked about that when I first started the stream here, but I think it already made 68 million. It's 100% happening. And again, if you are okay, here's what I'll tell you is if you're like the Goosebumps crowd, like you're, a preteen, 13 to 24-ish, and you want to watch a not that scary movie that's, not based on Five Nights at Freddy's, that won't really scare you, but is not a terrible movie, then maybe you're going to like this. But if you wanted a horror movie, that's not what you're getting. It's just not good enough. Yes, there is a Doc in the chat. I don't know what Doc is saying. But yeah, I just don't think it holds up. But apparently people like it. So I'm not going to, if you liked it, I'm not going to bag on you for liking it. I'm just going to say that if you had any expectations that this was going to be a scary movie with animatronics slaughtering people, then you are sorely mistaken. Welcome. Thank you for being new to the channel. I just think if you can catch it for free and you're interested in the concept of a backstory of Five Nights at Freddy's, that's fine. If you catch it on streaming, it's okay. If you're tired and you want to kick back a drink and enjoy it, you won't enjoy it, but at least you'll be able to kick back a drink. I'm not going to say it's good. I just can't recommend it. I would rather you spend your good, hard-earned money on something else. Hey, if you watched it, maybe you could tell me something that I'm missing because Doc double-checked the body count, and it's not very big, and it's not very scary. But again, the animatronics are very cool. In fact, I would prefer a movie where they're all just friends and they just talk about their feelings versus this horror movie that was not horror. But take care, Jack. We appreciate you being here. Enjoy the movie. If you didn't enjoy the movie, or if you want to just leave a comment below. Let me know. I'll be curious. Hit me back in the comments. Tell me if you enjoyed it. I'll be curious. Because, again, look, movies are subjective. But if you're going to put your hard-earned money into it, I just hate for people to waste their money. But if you're watching it on Peacock, like Doc, he said it was good for a nap. So I think that's okay. If you want to catch some Z's, catch some Z's and catch a nap, go ahead, go watch it. I'm okay with that. And if you liked it, I'm not going to criticize you for it because I think if you're in a certain age demographic, you probably would like it because you're probably not old enough to know what the game is and how the game works. But you're like, oh, this is just like a weird horror movie that has like some weird tropes to it. It's not an incompetent movie. It's kind of silly. Although I would say Doc said it was complete trash, but I think he had an expectation for it. Can I read this comment, sir? I can. I mean, Pinch Me, I'm Dreaming. Can you read this comment? I can read this comment. I'm trying to think what else can I say about the movie without completely spoiling it. I've said it a couple times, but I think it's fascinating that Josh Hutcherson, who is from the Hunger Games, who played Peeta. Thoughts on the film? Nope. I'm going to say pass is going to be my ultimately what I would say. Matthew Lillard is in it. I like Matthew Lillard. I think he's a good actor. I wish I could see him in more stuff because I think he's underused as far as an actor. But other than that, it's a hard recommend. But thank you for subscribing. We do appreciate it. Yeah, I can't recommend people spending money on it. And I know a lot of people did. And it's going to be a big hit. And a lot of people are going to talk about it. And I'm not going to trash it like I said, if you had a certain expectation, because they're trying to, you have to remember when they're advertising this movie, they're trying to prey on like, oh, the nostalgia crowd will go see it because they remember playing a goofy PC game called Five Nights at Freddy's. I don't know, 15 or 20 years ago. Doc, do you know when the movie actually came out? Matthew Lillard was also, I think he's the voice of Shaggy for Scooby Doo. He might have also been the voice of Scooby in the Scooby Doo movies. I just don't think he gets enough play because I've seen him in other movies where he was very, very good. I think I even saw him. He might have been in The Americans. He was very good at that. I could be wrong there. It's been a while since I've seen that show. It's pretty funny though. I'm going to point this out to everybody. I want to read off some of the cast just so you get an idea of what you're getting here, because this is very important. You have Grant Feely playing Ghost Kid, blonde boy. Asher Colton Spence, Ghost Kid with Hook. David Huston Doty, Ghost Kid with bunny ears. Liam Hendricks, Ghost Kid with hat. And Jophiel Love, Ghost Kid, blue-eyed girl. So you're saying Five Nights at Freddy's came out on 2014. So that's like not quite 10 years ago, but again, it's nostalgia bait. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, even though the thought of it is truly quite atrocious. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Humdiddly. Wait, what is it? Humdiddly, 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 humdiddly. Yep, I can do that. That's a thing. I remember that. But you see, but are you getting that from the new Mary Poppins? Or are you getting it from the old Mary Poppins that was maybe black and white in color and then put in color? I don't know. I know it's old, and I'm pretty sure Dick Van Dyke is in it. He's like, if he's still alive, he's like 100 years old. The game was put out in 2014. That's interesting. Yeah, so it's an old game. So people, they're preying on the nostalgia bait, but then they made a movie that's like a PG-13 movie. So they're like, well, we can't, because I envisioned it being like Saw, like a survival movie, where, you have a guy maybe trying to avoid all these traps, or not traps, but like the creatures themselves. Like I said, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5. Could he survive all 5 days? But instead, you get a backstory to all the creature, the animatronic things, and there's this whole convoluted backstory and a mystery, sort of, which isn't even that interesting. Good, I'm glad you got it from the old one. Oh, that's what you're talking about. Not that it's an old game, but you got it from the old Mary Poppins. I mean, it's a hard life being a chimney sweep these days. It really is. I don't know if they even exist anymore. He's alive at 97. Oh my gosh. God bless that guy. Holy cow. Dick Van Dyke, alive at 97. What a champ. What a champ. That's incredible. I don't think he's going to be a chimney sweep anytime soon, though. But he's lived a long and storied life. I know Doc was telling me that the guy from Night Court just passed away. So maybe, hopefully not, but Dick Van Dyke. Glad to see he's still alive. Hopefully he's enjoying life. But yeah, just think, if I told you that Five Nights at Freddy's would have a bunch of ghost kids in it, would you be excited to see that? I saw it in the trailer too, and I was like, there are ghost kids? That's probably not good for the story of the movie. That was my initial thought when I saw the trailer, and I was like, this looks a little sus that there are ghost kids. So again, we're almost treading into spoiler territory, and I'm going to try to avoid that for everybody because I don't want anybody, ultimately you still might want to see it. You might still enjoy it. So I think that's crucial to keep people, I wouldn't want to see it spoiled for anybody. That's actually a really solid point too. Thank you, SG Miola. I didn't. You're saying that you didn't like Ghostbusters Afterlife at all, but a lot of people did. I will agree with you wholeheartedly. A lot of people in my mind fell for the nostalgia bait, and I felt like it was a pretty weak movie that baited you into, I miss Egon. I feel really bad about that character. And because I do, because the feels get better, or get the better of me, I'm going to enjoy this movie. And ultimately, Ghostbusters Afterlife, I can't believe they're making a sequel to it because I didn't think it made enough money to even get a sequel. So I think that's a pretty astute point. Ultimately, it was like, what does anyone remember about Ghostbusters Afterlife? Like, really? Could you tell me anything about the story? Nothing. Not a thing. I'm not saying you specifically, but I think you're on the same page as me. Five Nights at Freddy was started by the man called Scott Cawthon. Oh, okay. So he's like the original designer of the game. Is that guy still around? Did he die? Would he roll over in his grave if he saw this? I'm going to say he won't roll over in his grave, but he'd probably be happy there was a sequel, and he probably would want some of the financial rights. So I'm going to say he'd be happy about it. Although, what did I read? I read something about the game with Alice, where the creator was saying that the game's been completely. It's like Alice, but she's like a psychopath and she like stabs people or something. And that guy said he lost control of the franchise and he can never do it again because he sold out to a big company and he can't use the property anymore. So that would be sad. He is still alive, but he is forever stopping Five Nights at Freddy. So he's never going to make another one. Well, guess what? Hopefully he gets paid because he earned it. And hopefully he gets paid for the sequel because hopefully he earned that as well. And maybe, like I said, for the younger crowd, this might be an okay movie. But if you had any recollection of what Five Nights at Freddy was, this is probably not for you. Because you're going to be disappointed. And then you're going to be mad. And then you're going to start throwing stuff at me. And, I can duck, dodge, and bob and weave, but not that well. Ghostbusters made $204 million, 4.4 million. Apparently, it was enough to get what's Ivan Reitman's son? What the heck's his name? He was the director, but apparently he got greenlit for a sequel. So who knows? Who knows when it even comes out? And then are they? Is Finn Wolfhard still going to be around? To that kid was pretty hot for a little while. $75 million budget. I mean, that's all you got to do in Hollywood is turn a profit on one or two movies, and you can keep making junk for the rest of your life. Pretty much the way that it works. If you can prove that you can turn, which is crazy. Just think about how much money that is. If somebody gave you $50 and you were like, I can make $200 on $50, you'd be a genius. And that's what Hollywood basically says, is that if you could make X amount of money, and just magnify the numbers, 500-fold. So that's what's really also interesting about Blumhouse, because Blumhouse put this Five Nights at Freddy out, and Blumhouse is, Jason Blumhouse as a producer is probably some kind of genius, because the dude knows how to put out like 20 to 30, like 10 to 20 to $30 million movies and turn a profit on them. Hollywood could probably learn a lot from that guy. But then I also heard that they spent $400 million on The Exorcist rights, and apparently that movie was terrible and nobody's even talking about it anymore. March 29th, 2024 is the scheduled release date of the sequel to Ghostbusters. Is that what you looked up there, Doc? Thank you, Doc, my admin, taking care of business for me, helping me out here. The man with all the facts. I would be into seeing... See, would I want to see a Ghostbusters sequel? I don't know. I mean, I would see it probably just because I'm supposed to, because that's what we do here, is we review stuff. But do I want to see it? Probably not. Thank you, Doc. I appreciate that. Excellent fact-checking. So, Five Nights at Freddy's. Fascinating study in how to not make a horror movie. Mr. Orcu, you could actually just call me Z, because technically I have a partner that we do a podcast with. So there are two of us. He's not real smart, but he does say racist things, so that's sometimes funny. I'm glad theaters are still alive and well. I love I love the theater experience too. I'm actually very excited that this is doing so well on day and date because I there's nothing beats the theater experience. Some of the best, coolest things I've ever seen have been in the theater. Oh, look, it's Insult Investor. What up there, Chief? It's probably like 9 o'clock at night for you, isn't it? But some of the, it really is. It's kind of dumb. Nicole Kidman has one of those like pre movie things when I go to, I think it's AMC. It could be Regal, but I think it's AMC. And she's like, movies are where she looks real stiff and has Botox and the whole thing. But I agree with her because there's just something beautiful about the movie experience. Oh, it's 10:13 at night. So that's not that bad for you. It's pretty late for me. But I just got done watching Five Nights at Freddy's, so I felt the need for speed and to come and talk to the folks and do a live reaction to it because I was like, I like to torture myself sometimes. And this was the easiest way to do it, was to watch Five Nights at Freddy's, be disappointed, and then discuss it with the folks out here on the interwebs. So, if you're in... that trailer still gets me. What a bad trailer for Five Nights at Freddy's. What a bad trailer that was. It spelled trouble for me, and I was like, yeah, how do I feel about this? And then after seeing it, I still don't feel good. So, it's a thing. Sometimes we watch bad movies. Doc warned me, so I will take that into fair consideration. That Doc told me that this was going to be a bad movie. And I know it's real late, so I'm doing this like fairly late at night. Like most of the East Coast crowd is asleep. I never play. This is from Insult Investor. I've never played the game. I watched Markiplier play it a few minutes, then lost interest. Doc says it's a trash game. I think it's what I was trying to imply was that it's a big nostalgia bait. So a lot of people, because he looked it up, I think it's 2014 the game came out, so it's like 9 years ago. So there's going to be a ton of nostalgia bait for the like 30-year-old crowd, 20-year-old crowd to be like, yeah, I can't wait to see Five Nights at Freddy's. And they're going to watch it. And they're going to say, pfft. So I bet you it makes 100 million and then kind of plateaus would be my guess. I think the concept is interesting, but ultimately the gameplay would probably be stale from today's standards. It would be like playing Pong. Because you just like look at the cameras and then clicking on things, right? I think that's what it is. Like it doesn't seem like it holds a lot of interest. Nobody's sleeping but old farts on Friday. You'd be surprised. There are probably more people sleeping than you think because they're all getting ready for that big Halloween push. And plus, it's probably 10 o'clock for you. It's what, 1 o'clock here? Yeah, it's almost 1:30 here. There are plenty of people sleeping. I'm going to watch the Banana Splits movie. Heard that was a bad one. I don't know what Banana Splits is. I might have to look that up. What is Banana Splits? If I can type it in properly. Banana Splits. Doc wanted me to look at the naked Britney Spears picture. That's a thing. Banana Splits movie from 2019. That's a horror comedy. Never heard of it. And I don't know any of these people that acted in it. And is it kid-friendly? It's R-rated. So you'll probably have more fun watching that than you would have watching a PG-13 group of steel animatronic creatures do nothing but make friends. So I will say Rotten Tomatoes has it at 63%. IMDb is at 5.1. So, if you like Splatterhouse type movies, I'm sure it's actually pretty good. But if you don't like that type of movie, it seems like it's somewhere in the middle. If you're a Hanna-Barbera fan, apparently it's good. So I'm going to say it's probably not a waste of your time. And if I see it somewhere where I can catch it, I would probably watch this. Although I'm not familiar with the Hanna-Barbera Banana Splits thing. I don't know what that is. Yeah. Fleagle being Freddy, Drooper. Oh, apparently it's some sort of connection to Five Nights at Freddy's. Okay, I guess it's like something comparative. Trying to find any movie where someone doesn't die, it's hard, especially a good one. I feel like there's good movies where people don't die, but well, even even Bambi has someone die. So yeah, that's a thing. That seems to be a theme. Does Saving Private Ryan have anyone die in it? I forget. That's a pretty good movie, isn't it? I think so. Now you're gonna make me think about a movie. Even the Never-Ending Story has something die in it. So the Banana Movie is on sale for $2.99 on all platforms. Well, that's $2.99 that I will have to work on. I'll go out on the street corner and try to hustle to get that $2.99. Trying to think, because you know who died. I want to do a live stream of Never-Ending Story because Noob Noob's never seen Never-Ending Story, and I want to live stream it because he really has a thing for animals, and I would just love to see his live reaction to. I don't want to spoil it, but if you've ever seen it, you know what happens in that movie, and I think that would be hysterical. He might make me turn it off. He's like, "No, I can't watch this." He might cry. What if he cried? That would be hysterical. So that's one of my plans. I just don't know how to make it work so that, like, I wonder if I put it on private, like if I put it for members only, could we watch the movie and not get copyright stricken? I don't know. What do you mean it's not funny to do to him? Have him cry? You cry every time you see it. Do you cry when the luck dragon gets a little too handsy with Atreyu? Do you? Or are you just talking about the horse? Yeah, that's what I don't know if we would get pulled. But if it's for members only, I don't know that you get pulled. So it's hard to say. These used to be such big, strong hands. I think you have flashbacks to when the luck dragon was a little too frisky with you. The horse. How do you not think that would be funny? That would be hysterical if I unleashed that on him and he started crying. Come on. Then you could feel better about yourself because then you wouldn't be alone. You'd be one of millions of people who have cried at that scene. When I was a kid, I may have cried at that scene. That movie is totally innocent. Is it though? Is it though? The Childlike Empress. Do you want to know the greatest trivia question of all time? The greatest trivia question of all time is, what is the name, and don't Google it, because you can Google it, but it's I don't know how hard it is to find on Google. What is the name of the Childlike Empress? What is her actual name? Say my name! The kid's name is not Atreyu. What's his name? I can't remember the kid's name, but I know the scene is she's like, say my name. Oh, Bastion. Say my name, Bastion. Say my name. That is, oh, you didn't Google it. You knew it. Whoa. That's intense. But you should use that at parties because it's a great party trick because no one knows it except for you, apparently, and me. And the kid's name. Is it Sebastian or is it just Bastion? I don't know. That's a tricky one, right? Who knows? Bastion, say my name. Just say my name, Bastion. And yeah, I don't want to talk any more about the Childlike Empress because it makes me uncomfortable. The kid is Sebastian. I don't know. Whatever happened to all those actors? I don't even want to. That movie is totally innocent. What about what is it? Is it 2 or is it 3 that has Jack Black in it? I'm going to say 2, but I could be wrong. I know Jack Black is like a bully in one of them. Doc, have you seen The Never-Ending Story? They're very old now because they were all like in their they were very young when they filmed the movie. So they're all very old now. I'm pretty sure the Childlike Empress never acted again after that. So this is way off the Five Nights at the Freddy conversation. But yes, I could talk about The Never-Ending Story. That's like probably one of the most pivotal movies in my entire movie viewing experience. Forged my whole life. I live as Atreyu every day. Although it's weird, how is Atreyu going to beat the warg anyway? I feel like he had a knife, but how was he going to? Because he didn't have any weapons, did he? I'm pretty sure he didn't have any weapons. I don't even think he used weapons. Although somehow he must have stabbed that warg. I don't know. I might have to watch it again. That one and Beastmaster, 2 greatest movies ever made from the 80s. Without a doubt. And non-horror movies. Non-horror movies. So I highly recommend both of those. He stabbed it with a rock. So see, he didn't bring any weapons with him. The kid is, he's a pimp. Atreyu. He's not very sad either. He's a not sad boy. So that's important. Jack Black was in number 3. Good call there, Doc. So, yeah, I think that's a thing. Should we just have a watch along? We should just have a watch along marathon of Never Ending Story. 1 and at least 2. 1 and 2. I think 2 is okay. I'm pretty sure the kid from Sequest is in that one. Is still named Bastion, but not the same kid. And Jack Black has like a very bit role in it. He doesn't do much. He's not very exciting. But I'm thinking it's time for me to wrap this. It's like my bedtime, I think, because it's very late. And I think I've spoken all I can speaks about Five Nights at Freddy's. Did I see Big Trouble in Little China? Am I a man? Big Jack is a man, and Big Jack has seen Big Trouble in Little China. Who hasn't seen that movie? That movie is... I am a huge John Carpenter fan. You should know that because I've said multiple times that The Thing is my number one... Like, I think it might be my number one all-time movie. Yes. That movie is so good, it's unbelievable. John Carpenter, what a stud. The guy brings, like... He has a couple of duds, but like his 10 best movies are probably better than like 90% of directors out there. Like can't even break into his top 10, which is pretty crazy. Yeah, I'll come back soon. You come back soon, and we'll all watch Neverending Story together. If we do a watch-along Neverending Story battle, you should be there. I'll put up a mirror so you can see in the background. Kid for the Neverending Story was also in Cocoon and Daryl. I never saw Daryl either. And Cocoon, holy cow, that's an old movie that I don't remember at all. Yes, to do 1 month, 24-hour a day stream. Yeah, absolutely. If I get paid for it, I'll do that. I'll just never sleep. It just won't matter. What if I just watch Never-Ending Story on repeat for 24 hours? And see, it would be just like a Christmas movie. 24-hour repeat over and over. Batteries not included. I would bet you that that's not as good as you remember. I'm going to say it's probably not as good as you remember. Or what's the movie? Johnny Five movie is probably better. So that would be my suggestion. Some of those movies don't hold up, man. They just don't. But I do know for a fact that Neverending Story holds up. It is good. You can keep believing in your heart of hearts that Batteries Not Included is good. You rewatched it recently? Short Circuit is with Johnny Five, correct. What about The Flight of the Navigator, huh? Yeah, who's seen that one? I don't know if that holds up either. And that was a Disney movie that they never talk about. It's been hidden in the... I heard they're rebooting it with like a Pan-Asian lesbian chick. You have it on Blu-ray. That is incredible. If I hate what? I didn't say I hated anything. You'll like it when you get old. What will I like? Cocoon when I get old? What am I supposed to like? Short Circuit? I didn't say that was bad. I just said Batteries Not Included was just okay. Black Cauldron is too scary for most people. And it's pretty good. They never talk about it because it's too scary for people. The Last Starfighter is fantastic, I think. Although no one will understand it anymore because they don't know what video game arcades are. You're just going to hang your hat on Batteries Not Included, aren't you? Doc's seen them all. Good job, Doc. That would have been your homework if you hadn't seen all of those. The Last Starfighter is pretty good. I have a real like this. I think that's the very first CGI movie, if I remember correctly. That is the first movie that ever had CGI. You were explaining to me that Batteries Not Included is a fantastic movie. War Games is an interesting movie too. Wow, we're going in the Wayback Machine here, folks. But as a movie historian, I mean, I have gone in the Wayback Machine myself, where, you know, I've seen Citizen Kane and all the old movies too. So, but you hate it so bad you blocked out for the context. Star Wars 77 had CGI, did it? I think that the computer models from The Last Starfighter are the first totally, like the first scenes that were totally generated in a computer. You might have to look that up, but I'm pretty sure I saw that in a documentary somewhere, where The Last Starfighter had the first purely CGI scenes in them, like 100%. I still don't know. I never said I hated Batteries Not Included. I just said it didn't hold up. It was good at the time. You talk about the laser bursts in Star Wars. I feel like those weren't generated by I feel like were those rotoscoped? I feel like they were rotoscoped, but I could be wrong. I think all that stuff was practical in 77. I don't think they'd used computers for any of it, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Cloak and Dagger and Starfighter were both 1984. Wow. How about we have Doc fact check you? We'll see. I'm telling you, look up Last Starfighter and CGI, and they had to like create a computer for it. Like they built a computer specifically to do like that weird ship that was completely done in a computer modeling or whatever it is. So, all right, I have reached my limit of tiredness. It's approximately 1:30, and I appreciate going back in the Wayback Machine with all you guys. Great conversation. Thank you for helping me get through this. I appreciate it. We'll do it again sometime, hopefully soon. Thank you all. Really appreciated it. Thank you for the contributions. Can't do it without you, but I am on to the next one.